Welcome back. Roy Towse joins us from Windermere Real Estate, who's been consistently the #1 agent for the city of Sammamish and specializes in many of the cities and neighborhoods on the east side. First, well, welcome, Roy. How are you?
I am doing great. Thank you, Ben. Thanks for having me on your show.
Well,
this is a great show.
Well, I'm glad. I mean, you're like a long-time listener, first-time attendee.
Yeah. I got some good friends who've been on your show before, and they speak very highly of you too.
Well, good. They must be some of the best professionals, and you must be in good company. We talked a little bit about new construction yesterday and a couple days ago, this week, and I wanted to continue kind of that conversation because it's just the conversation we had was it's almost all gone. It's been bought. And I wanted to kind of get your take on, what you see going on in the new construction industry, and kind of your take on it.
You bet. Well, it's been quite chaotic the last couple of months. I think we were talking briefly before the show, and it's like a light switch just flicked on, and last November to January it was slow pickings and buyers here and there, and then it was just a full on surge, and now we're looking at low inventory levels and lots of buyers still looking for homes.
Yeah. And so that lack of inventory, I mean, it's forcing maybe people, what's happening then? Sure.
So it's making people reconsider their options, so new construction is obviously a very popular way to go. But with the lack of inventory, now it's actually opening up the resale markets in these east side markets. So it's great because it kind of helps fuel the whole pattern. It helps the local buyers sell their houses and move up, and vice versa down or move out of the area.
Well, that it's a good point you bring up. I mean, the cycle of it, because most people who are buying need to sell, or vice versa.
Absolutely, yeah. It's nice to finally see that local move up buyer. It was non-existent for so many years, with after 2007 and getting to today. We're starting to see that fuel hit the fire again and things starting to go.
Well, you had talked about before the show, actually, that you hadn't seen pre-sales since 2006, 2007. Well, for a pre-sale, why don't you first just explain what a pre-sale is?
So you walk into a new home construction development, and, you see the big plat map with all the individual lots available and all the different houses or what the builder's building. A true pre-sale is basically picking a lot in a particular home and going forward with a contract to build a house and customize it to your liking. Some builders will also call it if they're building the house and it's an early stage of construction like lumber, it's still considered somewhat of a pre-sale, so you can still do some customization of the house. But a true pre-sale is when they pick a individual lot, individual house, and they move forward with a contract.
And that process, certainly it takes longer.
You bet, absolutely.
But that's kind of where people are going now because the houses that are built have been bought.
You bet. They're being forced to wait.
That's the first time in 6 years.
6 years. Yes, it's been quite interesting. And then, you're talking about things that are outside of control, like permit processes in these local jurisdictions, kind of delaying processes, and our wonderful weather that we have that's so unpredictable here sometimes will delay construction. So it's a little bit of a gamble to do it, but people are doing it now because of the low inventory levels.
It would seem to make sense. You can't find the house you want, build it.
Absolutely.
So talk a little bit about, these not necessarily the actual pre-sales in the process, but, how these houses are changing. We talked a little bit about great rooms, but we also talked about kind of what did you call it?
Home automation.
Home automation. If that doesn't sound sexy, I don't know what does. How do people automate their house? What is it, first of all? Because this is cool.
So home automation, we all love our gadgets, and we like to control things from our gadgets. And basically what's going on now is it's kind of the new evolution of home construction, and it's going this direction. We're just stepping our first toe into the water here. But what's happening is you're going to be able to control lights and garage doors and heating systems, security systems, door locks, everything with your iPad, iPhone, Android, whatever it may be, as long as you have an internet connection.
This is like Jetson stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
right? Where's Rosie cooking breakfast?
Absolutely, yeah, and it's pretty fun to do it at my model home when I get to do it for people with Lozier homes. It's pretty amazing to watch their eyes light up when I start controlling stuff in the house with my iPad.
Well, and you had mentioned, this is the home automation is what Bill Gates did when he built his enormous, beautiful home on the lake. And now this has actually come down to those of us who do not have Bill Gates' money.
Exactly. Yeah, the Bill Gates home was definitely far superior to what was on the market back then. But what's happened now is they're lowering costs of it to make it feasible for these new home construction builders to do it. They're using RF frequencies behind light switches instead of hardwiring, and so a lot of that makes it a lot less expensive for the builders to do it.
Especially as copper, I mean, as electrical wiring goes up, you can eliminate some of those things.
Absolutely, you bet.
That's that's interesting because, and then also, you can do cool stuff with it, right? I mean, we talked about, you get the refrigerator with the computer on it, that orders from Amazon, or, as actually Brett mentioned, you get off your flight and you turn your heat on before you get home.
Yeah, you can even do neat things like set scene. So if you open your front door, your fireplace turns on. I mean, you can do so many crazy things. It's really, there's so many different options and things you can do with it. And yes, and with appliances, I mean, I think we're headed there to where everything's just going to be integrated at some point. So
it doesn't sound, I mean, that sounds like fun. I mean, and then also having new construction means you're not literally retrofitting an entire old house. I use the analogy of, it's trying to put all the new gadgets on an old car.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's you can still do it on resales and whatnot, or an existing home if you don't feel like buying or don't have the capacity to buy a new home. Obviously, you can definitely retrofit it in these days. It is a little spendy, but the cost is going down, just as we see with TVs and electronics all the time. As evolution goes,
everything except for chapstick, which is $3 a tube. For you guys who listen all the time, I still have that chapstick. I do. It's in my car. I'll bring it up. We're here with Roy Towse with Windermere Real Estate, not talking about chapstick, but actually talking about how the cost of some of the real cool gadgets in houses have come down, and it's getting tied into new construction. That, to me, would be a reason to go buy new construction.
You bet. And new construction typically is one of the first things that a lot of people like to look at because they want to see what the latest and greatest is, whether it be floor plan or design or features of the new homes like we were just talking about. A lot of people like to look at new first and see what the current trends are and whatnot, and then also with the warranties that these builders have and being able to basically do a turnkey operation on a house, it makes it a lot more likable, I guess, as a buyer to go there first.
Sure. We're here with Roy Towse, realtor with Windermere Real Estate. Roy, we just have about a minute left before we have to go to break. Talk a little bit why educating yourself on different builders is important.
Well, personally for me, when I have new construction or even relocation clients, knowing with the builders in and out. I mean, every builder out here has the ones that we know, the big ones, the local ones, or even the national ones. You have to know their product. It's different in every community. I mean, one builder could have a product in Redmond where in Sammamish it's $200,000 higher, and you need to be educated on why that is. Whether it be spec level or maybe it's a bigger yard, maybe it's in a more desirable school district. So it's also important to know the differences, the warranties that each builder has, because that's a very important item with a new home.
There's a lot going on. I mean, there's so many moving parts to a house, whether they're new electronic gadgets or, as you said, a school.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Roy, thanks so much for joining us again. That's Roy Towse with Windermere Real Estate, the #1 agent in the city of Sammamish. When we come back, Heather is going to ask some questions, not about chapstick, I hope. But if she does, I have the answer. I still have it. We'll be right back after this break.